My name is Dr. Muriithi Ndegwa. I work with the Kenya Institute of Management as the Executive Director and CEO. I've had the privilege and opportunity, thank God, to work in several organizations where I've been a Managing Director and also a CEO in 3 different organizations. One in the manufacturing sector, one in service industry, and now one in the training area. I've also had the privilege of sitting in several boards, again thank God, because that has given me quite a bit of experience in terms of leadership and management. It's a bit difficult to give a description in one word, but I'll just use 2 words which can be combined into one. I think I would say I'm results oriented. It's usually a very difficult call to say how many times. In management, we say that one can fail a myriad of times. But I think the key thing is, as you fail in whatever you're doing, you learn from the mistakes that you make, so that you don't make the same mistakes twice. And that being the case, you can make mistakes several times throughout your life, so long as you're building on your experience and learning from the mistakes that you make, so that you don't repeat the same mistake again. I think in life, we all like to live in the comfort zone. And whether you are a youngster, whether you're in middle age, whether you're old, everybody loves comfort. But in management, and especially in today's management, when there's so much turbulence, you talk about the VUCA world, you really have to be on your toes, and that therefore means that you have to keep challenging yourself, pushing yourself to the limit if you are to succeed. And I believe every one of us wants to succeed. When I started my career, I started off as at the junior ranks. At one time, I was an assistant PR and marketing officer in a banking sector. I grew through the ranks and I rose to become head of a department, head of marketing and public affairs department. And then after that, when I moved in a lateral position to be a marketing manager in a manufacturing company, and then I moved on to another company where I was marketing development manager, specifically charged with the responsibility of helping in the launch of a product that was going to be launched in the international market. I had always wanted to rise to the C-suite, but of course, rising to the C-suite, a lot of times it's going to be hard work, and of course, it's God's grace, because not everyone can rise to the C-suite. So when I got this opportunity, I got to an organization. I was appointed managing director, and in this organization, it was it was outside the country, so it's a foreign land. I basically do not know the nuances of the people. The language is also different, and then within a very short time, because the company had just been bought by investors based in Kenya from international investors. So there was a transition in terms of the ownership in terms of the ownership of the company. And the local people started feeling they want to take a piece of the cake. You can imagine they demanded 500% salary increment. And I looked at it and I said, first and foremost, I have not been involved in union negotiations. I have no clue how this can be done. So of course I did a lot of consultation. I consulted my board. I also consulted my colleagues in the market. We were able to eventually get to some ground to talk. But the challenge I had is that the language or the modus operandi was Kiswahili. And of course, coming from Kenya, sometimes you can be a bit challenged in terms of, especially the deep aspect of Kiswahili. So to cut the short story long, or the long story short, I was eventually able to stamp my feet. And I told the staff in no uncertain terms that, look, this company retrenched 50% of its workforce just 1 year ago. Here we are with a new investor who is willing and ready to pump in money, and therefore it's a question of you deliver, the company will also deliver. And after some time, we were able to get to some good agreement, and they actually took 10%. So you can imagine 10% from 500%. And for me, that was really a game changer for me in terms of learning how to A, operate as a CEO, and 2, communication upwards and downwards, because there was lots of stakeholders that were involved. And I think more critically, it also shaped me in terms of learning that there will always be challenges, especially in the C-suite. And these challenges, some of them can be huge or can be humongous. And it's a question of how then you're able to navigate those challenges. So it's all about your value system, and it's all about your core principles and so on. So essentially, I would say that when you look at the leadership philosophies, there are many of them, but I think mine would be more inclined towards a solution-oriented philosophy. However, you also cannot just say you are straitjacket in only one leadership style. You could be picking a little bit from here and there, but I think in a nutshell, I would say I'm more solution-oriented leadership style as opposed to others. Oh, there are lots of difficulties, and I think one of the key things that we'll be talking about is, and I've mentioned that, is challenges. We live in a world where things happen very quickly, and you're called upon to make decisions on areas and aspects that you may not be quite familiar with, because all the time you're charting new territory. And I think as a result of that, you find that as a CEO, you could have you'll be required to make decisions very fast, and this is what they talk about being agile. Agile in the sense that you're able to navigate the challenges, and you're also able to lead your team to results. And I think this is why I could say that I borrow a lot from being a transformational leader, in the sense that transformational leaders is all about transforming where you are, or transforming what you're doing to make things better for posterity and for tomorrow. So even in terms of leadership philosophy, I think let me also say that I borrow a lot from being a transformational leader. Lots of things. One of the things that I like to do is I do a bit of reading. I'm sure people would say that reading is not fun, but I love reading management and leadership books, and there are lots of them out there. I also listen to videos, especially on new things, what is happening in the world. I'm a fan of hiking, so I do a bit of hiking, keep shape, and also at the end of the day, also to keep my mind clear. And once in a while, once I have some time, there's some other sports that I do, and of course I also want to go to the gym once in a while to keep shape. Let me think. Yes, I think I have a talent that not many people would know. Strategy formulation, because I find a lot of times when you're in a group of people, I will not keep quiet. When I see things are not going exactly as they should, I will raise my voice and I will say as it is. I think that's one area perhaps maybe people may not know. I also love to mentor youngsters, and especially the boy child, teenagers. I love to mentor them. Maybe that's another talent that people may not know about. And so every time I've been given an opportunity to talk to youngsters, I do very well. I excel in that area, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I've been told that. There's a book I'm reading right now by Jim Collins. It's called Built to Last. This is a guy who wrote the book, the famous book, From Good to Great. It's interesting when I read through that book, he's talking about companies that have survived for more than 100 years. And they did a lot of research extending several years. And I think when I read that book and I see some of the companies he's talking about, that they are built to last, companies like General Electric of the US, Sony of Japan, I can see a lot of cases where we can borrow a leaf, because they are talking about the core ideology of the organization and the organization living to that core. There's a Chinese aspect of yin-yang. I don't know whether you may have come across that. So he's borrowed that Chinese concept of yin-yang and he's put it exactly in these organizations to see what is the core and how do they live that core. And I think we have a lot of cases to learn from some of those companies. When you look at companies like 3M, and he talks about something very simple like Post-it. Now, Post-it is something that we do on a daily basis, using as a bookmark, but the concept of how it was manufactured, how it was invented, it's a very interesting aspect. I'm borrowing a lot of stuff from that book, and I think it's a book that would be good for every person who's in leadership and management to go through, because it talks a lot about how you can live the core ideology of your organization. When it comes to the young generation, because I do a lot of talk to students at the university, some of the universities I know I've been called a lot to mentor them or to talk to them. And I also do talks to post-high school students quite a lot. One of the key things I keep telling them is that life is not a straight line, in the sense that you'll always meet challenges. And these challenges come in very different aspects. But life is such that when you meet those challenges, if you are prepared for them, then certainly you'll be able to go over them. That's one. Number two is that you need to go gradual, in the sense that you don't climb a tree from the top. You climb the tree from the bottom. And unfortunately, I see a lot of youngsters, they want instant this, instant that, instant that. A guy is leaving college, he wants to drive the latest vehicle. He wants to live in a certain area. he wants to be like his boss. He wants to be like this or that or the other. You really have to take your time and grow and build yourself. How do you build yourself? One is that even when you go through your degree, remember that when you come out of the university, you're not alone. There are many others who have similar degrees. So diversify by adding professional courses to that degree. Because when you go for the interview, there's something that could distinguish you between the rest of the people. Again, also, even when you start employing, start building your career, investing, because it's not just about work and loan. And also socialize and make sure that you're not just one person who is a straitjacket going in one direction. You also are doing other things that can help you in terms of networking and also in terms of building your career, in terms of building your goals. But I think above all, I would say trust God and believe in God, because God always has a way of guiding. My name is Dr. Muriithi Ndegwa, and this is Captains of the Industry, Nation FM.